Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you came here from watching the last one, I'm in the exact same spot. Gotta love the continuity. How are y'all doing today? I am doing quite well. I just got done giving myself a nice mani-pedi, and I am about to go to Trader Joe's, which I almost never go to because we don't have one close to us. But since I am on my girl boss shit, as I kind of mentioned in the last vlog, I am going to go and get myself some stuff for lunch. I'm gonna get myself lunch while I'm out as well. Might also like pop into Target because I think we're almost out of toilet paper, but I'm very excited to give you a little Trader Joe's haul and start out the week right. God, what can I tell you? I kind of already mentioned this in the last vlog, but I'll mention it again here. Today's Monday, and tomorrow I actually have another appointment with my fertility clinic for us to kind of like discuss what we want to do going forward for our next transfer, which is really exciting. I mentioned in that vlog, and I'm sure I'll continue to mention it, but I am not going to be sharing the details of this next transfer, like the timing and just like all the details of it, because I'm glad that I shared my last experience, but I'm looking forward to like keeping this one to myself and just, you know, if I do get pregnant, keeping that to myself as well for a little while. I'm not expecting it to work necessarily, but you know, I'm just I'm looking forward to the experience of kind of getting to go through this just like with me and the husband. But I have that appointment tomorrow and I am very much looking forward to that, in a good mood. And I feel like every time I have an appointment, I'm like, okay, I gotta get some shit done ahead of this appointment. I need to look good. I need to smell good. I gave myself a little mani-pedi. I gave myself a manicure last week, actually. I did like a little French mani, and it really did not last. I used like a different brand of gel nail polish. I used OPI, which I thought would be like, you know, good stuff. And it just did not last at all. So I reverted back to my DND DC gel. And I feel like my nails turned out pretty good. This week, what's on the agenda? I've just been rambling. I am going to be reading House of Flame and Shadow for the first time, and I'm so excited about it. This vlog's probably going to be very reading heavy as compared to the last couple of weeks, mostly because I have less going on, you know, personally, and also because it's like a first time read of this book, and I want to be able to give you all of my thoughts and feelings. Don't worry, there's still going to be some like fun stuff involved. Our banquette for our dining room finally is supposed to be here. I keep saying dining room as if we have one. For a kitchen is going to be here this week, and obviously we have Valentine's, so I'll show you like our little Valentine's dinner in. But this week's really just going to be low-key and chill. Like I said, this grocery trip and that appointment for tomorrow are probably like my most exciting things that I've got going on. Otherwise, I'm just reading and doing some like administrative work for YouTube, and honestly just trying to like maintain and like stick to the schedule that Hayden and I kind of like made for ourselves last week. So lots on the agenda, but in terms of like exciting life stuff, not as much. But I'm going to take you along with me for the week, and I am excited to do so. So I will see you in just a second when I get back from Trader Joe's, and I'll give you a little bit of a haul. Hayden's being a snooper, everyone. I was gonna do my little Trader Joe's haul, and I guess Hayden can sit down here and look at all the cool things I got because he's obviously so concerned about my groceries. I didn't get that much. I spent under $100, which I feel like is pretty good at Trader Joe's, and I got a bunch of random shit, so let's get into it. First up, Italian tomato and burrata ravioloni. Fun. It was a new variety.
Why is it ravioloni?
Why is it raviolini? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not Italian.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I got breaded fried ravioli, which I thought could be fun. You can put it in the air fryer or the oven or a pan, I think is what the instructions were. I got these little egg bites. I don't know, it sounded fun for breakfast. I've never had the Starbucks ones, but you know, that's a thing.
This is a classic for you.
These are so good, and they're so much better than the ones you can get at the grocery store. Love Ore-Ida's like regular tater tots, but their hash browns are not as good as these, so very excited about that. A classic. Hayden hates the smell of these, and you know what? That's fair. It kind of smells like tires, but
yeah,
the porcini mushroom and truffle ravioli, fucks. I used to eat those way too much in college. I got a little Caesar salad for lunch.
Let me know when you make those, and I'll leave and go somewhere else.
I got the...
Oh, yeah.
This is the best cheddar, I think, this unexpected cheddar from Mr. Joe. It's good shit. It's very salty and delicious. I got these maple flavored mini pancake puffs, which I thought could be a fun little breakfast with like some little scrambled eggs. These I got last time and they expired before I could try them, which I think says a lot about the state of our deep freezer right now. Pastry bites with feta and caramelized onions. I think it could be a little fun appetizer. I got some cacio e pepe gnocchi. Okay, so this is cursed in the most delicious way. This is the pepperoni mac and cheese, and I love it. And it really hits the spot if you're a pepperoni fucker like I am.
It's the pepperoni fucker.
So distracting from my health. Hayden's one requested item were these dark chocolate peanut butter cups, so I did get them. These are the 4-cheese pastry rolls. They kind of reminded me a little bit of like a, I don't know, cheese Danish from Starbucks. So I was like, okay, give her a go. And then I got some cured meat products because I was like, you know what, maybe I'll have my own charcuterie for lunch one day. So I got pepperoni and prosciutto, which are my favorite cured meats.
I'm not invited.
We'll see. Some other things that I thought were pretty exciting. I got 2 different varietals of bread because I want to make some fancy French toast soon. So I got the cinnamon raisin bread sliced. Okay, I'll just show you this first because we got a little buddy. They're gonna have fun. If you can hear the crinkling, my apologies. I also got this cinnamon sugar bread, hand twisted. This one looks like very just gooey and delicious, and I couldn't decide on which one would make better French toast, so I bought both of them, and I'll probably freeze whichever one I don't use immediately. I also got Honeycrisp apples go on top, because I like my cooked apples. I'm pretty good at making cooked apples with cinnamon and sugar to go like on top of good French toast.
That's true.
My favorite salad kit. Hayden hates on salad kits, but I like this one. I think it's good. It's the broccoli and kale slaw one. It's crunchy. It's delicious. I love the dressing.
I think salad, I don't like hate salad kits. I just don't get them for myself, you know?
I mean,
like, I don't eat that many salads, and if I did eat a salad, I want to choose what goes in it, you know?
I just feel like we don't eat salad as often as we used to, which is not necessarily like the worst thing ever, but I could probably use more greens in my life, so I decided I would get a little salad kit for lunch. I usually split this one in half and have it like as a side salad to like whatever I'm eating, and then I got these mini chocolate chip cookies for me because they look like Famous Amos and I wanted some.
Did you see I put a new salad on the list for this week?
We'll see how it goes.
It's a burrata salad. It's got burrata.
I do like burrata.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't normally love Hayden picking our recipes, but
she made me
I was lazy to
pick a couple.
so I made him pick a couple. Anyway, like I was trying to say, that trip took a little bit longer than anticipated, so it's already like 4:30, and I haven't really done anything productive work-wise. What I'm going to do for the rest of the day is finish up some vlog and like administrative work, and then get started on House of Flame and Shadow. I should probably be reading for other videos, like, and prioritizing that before this one, but I don't know. After finishing Sky and Breath today, I'm just like, I'm in the mood, so I'm going to put these groceries away, and I'll check in with y'all in a little bit. Oh, happy Tuesday. It took me a second to figure out what day of the week it was, which is embarrassing. I have had an interesting day thus far. It started out pretty good. I got some reading done for a couple of different videos, including this one, and I had another appointment/consultation with my fertility clinic. I brought Hayden to this one, and it was productive and good, and again, just like looking forward to whenever we do start our second embryo transfer cycle. I told y'all this vlog is going to be reading heavy, and it is. I got like an hour and a half into House of Flame and Shadow. Thought we could, chat. This one actually does pick up kind of just where the last book left off. Maybe it's like a month in the future, but essentially Bryce at the beginning of the story is hanging out with the crew from Akatar, and she is not doing a very good job at answering their questions, and I definitely understand her like nerves and or fear being in a place that she doesn't know with people who she doesn't really understand. They're Fae, but like not in the same way that she is Fae, or like they just have a completely different culture, different worlds, different time periods kind of. I think I'm like kind of struggling with her chapters at the moment. I think Bryce is a character who's just like already kind of hard to sympathize with, and then whenever you see her with characters that you really love from another series, it can be hard to like put yourself in her shoes and like feel for her. She kind of does some fucked up stuff to Azriel and Nesta, although I think she's like kind of recovering from that, but I feel like we're not really getting a lot of traction with her point of view and like with her side of the story. I think she's trying to find a way back to her beloved, but I mean we're not really there yet, it's just like a bunch of kind of rolling around and hanging out with the worm. And then I think the points of view from everybody else are much more interesting. So obviously we've got Rune, we've got Hunt, and is it Axiom? The guy with the British accent. They're all kind of strung up and being tortured in the Asteri prison dungeon situation. And I think this is actually probably the most interesting, not the most fun chapters to read for sure, but watching them kind of like band together and keep each other sane is fascinating. And then also seeing their interactions with the Hunt, the Hind, the whatever the fuck, all the H's, I think is interesting because we've got Lydia, and I just think this is such a compelling pairing, and it makes so much sense, again, as to why people care about this pairing more than the Hunt-Bryce relationship. But the idea that Lydia is having to torture someone she loves and like goes against what she stands for because she's like part of the resistance is so interesting to me, and I think is just going to make for such an interesting romance whenever Rune kind of escapes. So I think that is like interesting so far. And then we have Therion's chapters, and his life, not gonna lie, mega depression era, like mega Selena at the start of whatever the fuck book it is where she's like basically punched in the face by Rowan. Like he's very much in his like I'm doing drugs to like stay alive, like I'm just trying to chill sort of era. So I feel kind of bad for him. I'm really trying to think of all the characters and all the things that are going on. So we've got like his chapters. He is very much like indebted and indentured to the Serpent Queen or whatever. He's like in her fighting rings, but he's supposed to like make it look good. So he like keeps getting injured and he keeps like sucking at her teat, not really her teat, but her venom. And then lastly, we've got Ethan. And I think Ethan is another storyline that I'm like into. I don't think his character is like the most interesting on its own, but all of the like surrounding characters are interesting. Like all of the people that used to live with Rune, like all of the other Fae males, I believe, they're trying to find a way to free their friends. They also have this escaped wolf who was a mystic, which I think is like really interesting. I'm curious to see what they do with her character if she ends up with Ethan, but she is like a Fendir, a secret Fendir, which I think is kind of fun. I don't know. I feel like I'm just like telling you all the things that are happening and not really giving you my thoughts and feelings, but I think my overall thoughts and feelings are Bryce, don't give a fuck about, but I want to see the guys freed and I want to see how they go up against the Asteri and kind of what this book turns into. Like, is the gang from Akatar really going to show up beyond just getting their world infiltrated temporarily by Bryce? I'm also curious to see how the weapon situation works out because there's this like, I don't know, what do they call it? Like a fortune, sort of, like a prophecy that the sword will find its mate or whatever, and the sword has found its mate with the dagger that Azrael has or some shit, so I think that's interesting. I don't know if that actually means anything. It'll like save her people. I don't know, but it's a decent way to start a third book, I guess. Like, we're not like bored at the beginning of the book, which I'm appreciating. That being said, my goal was to get to where I got to today, and this one I don't think I'm going to pick it up again because I really need to get reading for my Giving Authors a Second Chance video, which is going live on Thursday, and I don't think we're doing anything exciting tonight. We're eating at home. What? I don't know yet, but something. And the only other like mildly exciting update I have to give is that I got like the time window for our bench delivery tomorrow, which is between 12:30 and 4:30. They're going to give me a call 30 minutes before they come, and I'm so hyped, and it's just going to look so good. I don't know. I think I told y'all this in the last vlog, but I just like have been having this urge to switch things up, and I'm not acting on it. I'm trying to like be smart about it, and you know what I think I'm going to do? Instead of like renovating spaces that I already have kind of like figured out at the moment, I think I'm going to help Haden this week and help him with his office. In the last vlog, we did talk about how he wants to start his own channel, which I'm so supportive of. And I really want to help him like create a space in his office that he really loves. When we first moved in, obviously the focus was on my office because I need this for like filming and all that sort of stuff. But Haden like works from home too, and I want his office to be something that he can enjoy when he is like making YouTube videos and also not making YouTube videos. And he has asked me a couple times like, oh, hey, can we do this, that, or the other? And it's just like never been the priority to like make his office cute. But I think our game plan for there is to like eventually kind of paint in there. And I think this weekend we might go on a little bit of an adventure and try to find some stuff for his walls. I think our idea is, well, was my idea, but he was like kind of on board with it, to like find some eclectic pieces for his wall, just like art and whatever we can find at like Goodwill and like other cheap kind of thrifty places. Haden really likes kind of kooky off the wall stuff. He definitely would not decorate our house the way that I have if he had a choice. Not that he like dislikes it or anything. He actually compliments me often, which I appreciate, but I want to make sure that his office is like reflective of the stuff he likes, and I think that would be a fun thing to do this weekend. I feel like I'm, you know, trying to get on track with like my schedule and like how I stay disciplined during the week, but I need like good rewards for the weekend, and my schedule so far allows for me to take a like day off on Friday, so maybe on Friday like we can go and hunt the local Goodwills, and I'll take you with us. It's a long update with me talking very quickly, very action-packed. I'm gonna go do some reading for that other video that I'm working on, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Hello, Friday people. Happy Friday. We just got back from Goodwill, a couple of Goodwills actually, and Haden got some zesty items for his office that he wanted to show off, or that I'm forcing him to show off because apparently he doesn't have room to just like, you know, store them at the moment, but he does have...
Yeah, I'm gonna hang them up. I just like, I need to figure out what I'm doing, you know?
Fair enough. All right. Let's show the people what you got.
Okay, we'll start out with the most boring. I got this framed pegboard. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I'm gonna do something with it. I was thinking maybe like put some sunglasses and like some lips on it or something. I don't know. I'm gonna do something. I can
great
I can hang
ideas.
whatever I want on this. I got this delightful blank certificate of achievement. I'm gonna make up a fun achievement to put on this.
I'll think of a good achievement for him.
Oh,
don't you worry.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to decide my own achievements. Am I gonna put my own picture here? Like a
find a good one.
Can we take a portrait of me?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll scrounge something up, I'm sure.
And then the last of the small ones, we got this delightful. I don't know how well this is gonna show up in
You can see it.
the frame, but you know, one of those like sick 3D. Yeah.
Got the magic. Okay, show them the other two, and then we'll be done with this. Because I want to show them the bench that came in before my camera dies.
And we
got some creepy eyes.
Cursed eyeball thing.
It'll look great in the background of the video.
Yeah.
And to kind of color coordinate and pick up off of that vibe, we've got this beautiful one.
We got this. I have no idea what this is.
What I like is that it talks about tater tots, but it also has an onion ring on it.
Yes.
And I don't know what any of this means, but
have no idea the context, but because of that, it almost seemed like too good to pass up.
So anyway, that was our little haul. We were looking for kind of like random shit, and I think we really just like nailed it. And I'm really excited to see how it comes together. You know, we still need to get like a little chair for Hayden to sit in and stuff like that. But I think overall it was a very fruitful thing, and that was only $20 for the most part. So
yeah,
that was pretty great. And then the actually exciting thing, we got my bench. Ooh, she's beautiful. She's stunning. Honestly, I've been like pretty happy with it. I don't know what your thoughts on it.
You want me to sit down there so that they can...
Oh, you can get the real effect.
Yeah.
Hayden's gonna sit in the bench. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it completes the space and like looks pretty cute.
Now, if you come into our house and you know you're like trying to get a table, you could be like, "Hey, can we have a booth?"
And I can sit next to him if I want to, which I never do. But.
Which she doesn't, and also to that point,
shared on
whenever we first got it, I said, I can't wait to sit in it, and you said, what are you talking about? You're sitting on the other side.
Booths are not for boys. Everybody knows that. If you ever go to a restaurant and the man tries to sit in the booth, dump him. Unless it's a really big booth and you want to share, but like if he tries to claim the booth side,
this is a huge booth.
If he tries to claim the booth side of a booth table situation, like booth chair, fuck him. Get him out of there. I mean, don't actually fuck him. Like, do the opposite of that. But tell him to get the fuck away.
Whatever. Get out of here. I don't like being trapped in here with you.
I think that's all that I have for y'all right now. I have been listening to what is it called? I don't know. Shadow Flames. Fatal Flame and Shadow. This one. I've listened to it. I don't really have anything to say about it though, so I'm gonna read a little bit more probably and let y'all know once I get like to the 5-hour mark. And by 5 hour I mean like I'll have 5 more hours to listen to it. I think I'm at like 6 hours 45 minutes at the moment. So.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so fun, so zesty. It's actually not bad. It's not a bad book, but I've just been feeling more inspired to write my own at the moment, so I've kind of been doing that.
Hell yeah.
And I like that more.
You go, girl.
I'm girl bossing.
You definitely have the gaslight part down. What's is there a third part, right?
Gatekeep.
Gatekeep. Oh, yeah, you were gatekeeping me on this booth hard.
On that note, I'm gonna let Hayden go have some fun. I'm gonna have my own fun, and he's not invited because no boys allowed. No boys allowed in the booths, and no boys allowed in my bedroom, except for the 3 boys that are currently in my bedroom.
Yeah, one of them will leave, though.
The dog?
Yeah.
The cats?
The other one won't leave because he'll scream and scream
Which
and
one?
scream.
Which one?
Pigeon.
Pepper does that shit too.
Yeah, but Pigeon's louder.
Yeah, he's fucking demanding.
Pepper is annoying because he does the scratchies.
Yeah. He scratchies at the door.
Yeah.
Pigeon just loud.
Okay, let me so I can go put these things back in the back of your car.
Beautiful pieces of art. Hello, lovelies. Happy Saturday. I am so exhausted. I feel really good though. This has been one of the days over the past like month or two that I felt the most productive. There's been like 2 days over the past month and a half that I felt productive, which kind of shameful, frankly, but also trying to like give myself grace. And that's kind of like what I wanted to check in with y'all about. It's just like my mental health, how I'm doing, and also talk to you about House of Earth and Blood. No, not House of Earth and Blood. House of Flame and Shadow, because I'm actually 55% of the way in. Like I definitely have made good progress on it, and I feel like I finally have like things to say. Chapter 47 specifically is where I'm at. So where to begin? I don't know. I don't even know really. I didn't like think about my thoughts. Didn't think about my thoughts. Well, I didn't really like ponder my thoughts and feelings before I sat down to film this, but I just feel like, as usual, I have so many different like swirling thoughts and emotions. I think lately I've been feeling kind of angry, which I don't think is an emotion that I've had in quite a while in this whole infertility process, but I have just been like just angry, and I haven't known what to do with that emotion. In the past, I haven't like looked at other people and their I guess like fertility success with any sort of like envy or anger or anything like that, but lately it's really been getting to me. Like, I won't lie. I think maybe because I have this like failure under my belt, and it was never a true possibility before now that I could get pregnant. I just feel like it's like definitely weighing on me, and has been something that has given me pause the past couple of days. Did come up here to export a video and also to do a little journaling to like maybe get some of those emotions out. I think that definitely helped, but it's something that I'm trying to be really cognizant of, because I don't want to carry that with me. I don't want to be someone who's like bitter and angry all the time, or like who can't look at other people's kids and just like be happy for them. You know, I don't want to be that person, and I don't like truly feel like hate towards anyone, but I just think when you're put in a position like this, it can be hard not to be immensely angry and frustrated. Failures, I think, bring up old emotions when it comes to having to do this in the first place. I had a good short conversation with a subscriber about male factor infertility, and it's like, all infertility sucks and it's not a competition. Male factor infertility can be just especially like draining when you're pretty sure you can get pregnant on your own. It's really fucking hard. And it's on my mind. I don't want to enter into a second transfer with anger, with bitterness, with the assumption that it won't work, even though that's kind of how I feel. It's like, once it doesn't work once, you're kind of like, oh, okay, so it just like never will. It's so weird too, like it being coupled, all of these like great things that have happened this week. Like, I randomly found out that apparently my new insurance that I was not excited about because it doesn't technically have fertility benefits, actually does cover some of my embryo transfers. So I'm getting a refund for my last one, and I pay less for this next one, and our bench got delivered, and some other things that like I want to share but like are good have happened. And there's never been such a stark contrast between the great things that happen in my life and the bad things that happen in my life. So that has been interesting to deal with. I think that's also why it's been kind of like hard for me to pick up the camera the past few days, is like I have been listening to this book that I feel like I don't have very many thoughts on, and also I have way too many emotions and like thoughts in my own brain. So I just wanted to plop that in here and mention that I look forward to a day I don't have to talk about this anymore. I feel like y'all are probably sick of it, but I also, again, I don't know how many times I can say it, I do want to be transparent, because it's helped me watching other people's transparency about like their fertility processes, and I want to be that for other people as well, and that like all feelings are valid, no matter if it's like sadness, anger, grief, bitterness, whatever. Let's talk about House of Flame and Shadow, House of Fucks Given. This 50% mark, I am sort of intrigued. It feels like we are kind of picking up steam as to like the events of this like trilogy. I don't know if it's a trilogy. I wish Sarah J. Maas would be a little bit more transparent about like how her series work out. Like, is this just a trilogy? Is it the beginning of a series and then we're going to follow some other characters in the next book? I don't know. Like, I know this series isn't over, at least I think it isn't, but at this point, I feel like when I conceptualize this book, I just think about it in characters, so I can kind of tell you my thoughts on like each individual character, I guess. So I would say at this point, my least favorite plotline is probably Ethan's. I was liking it when I first started reading, but I am much less intrigued now that like the shit has gone down with him. At this point, he is trying to get a necromancer to raise Sigrid from the dead because he killed her on accident, and he wants to, I guess, save the Fendir heir because, you know, maybe she'll have some information, or I don't even fucking know, to be honest, why he wants to get her back from the dead. I think mainly just to like assuage his guilt from killing her, but he was like in the Serpent Queen. Is she a queen? The Serpent Lady. He was in her lair and was having to fight people, and he fought Sigrid and she died. So Jessica is helping necromance this bitch, and I think she's gonna come back to life and some bad shit's gonna happen. I have read a single spoiler, which basically just says that Ethan's plotline throughout this book kind of is a full circle, and he doesn't really learn anything new. And that's kind of what I'm picking up at this point. I don't really feel like we're getting anything super interesting with him. So let's move on to things that are maybe a little bit more interesting. I was kind of shocked at the reveal that the Hind actually has twins, like she has children. I want to know who the parents of the twins are. I mean, well, the dad is, I guess. They were adopted by mare people, like mermaid people. We find out that the Hind has been working with is it Ocean Queen? Is there a River Queen and an Ocean Queen? I'm not really sure, but they're on some sort of like ship, and they're sailing, and they're trying to, I guess, come up with a plan, like a game plan to take down the Asteri. And by them, I mean Bryce and the freed gentleman that got free from the Asteri with the help of the Hind. I would say definitely most intrigued by the plotline with the Hind, aka Lydia and Rune. I like where things are going. Although I will say, something that kind of confused me is that Rune was really upset with Lydia whenever he was locked up in a dungeon and she was like torturing him. He was like, I'm just not gonna have any emotions for this bitch anymore. And then when he escapes and she almost dies, he's like, oh wait, I actually really love her and like I need to make sure she doesn't die. And so I think that's like kind of confusing to me, like the complete 180 and switch of his feelings towards her. But I can't lie, I'm still like intrigued by that romance and that plotline. Like I really want to know how he feels about her, and I really want to see her, I guess, get to be vulnerable with someone again. I got to see that obviously in like the chapters that they have in the other books, but I am very curious to see kind of like how their romance plays out, and they're definitely much more intriguing to me. They kind of give like Aedion and Lysandra vibes, but like maybe better. I don't know. I like them. I really don't give a fuck about Bryce and Hunt though. Like they have reunited and I think they're fucking actually. I think I like literally left off on a sex scene and I just like don't care. I really don't care about them being together. I kind of wish that they wouldn't be. I just think that they're like the most boring Sarah J Maas pairing. And I might have already said this in this vlog, but I'm gonna say it again. I stand by the fact that I think Hunt is boring. And the reason that I think he's boring and the reason I think their relationship is boring is because there's no tension, there's no angst, there's no reason for these two to be together. And maybe I like toxicity, maybe I really just like need that, I don't know. But I think that the Rowan, Selena / Rhys Farrah relationships are much more interesting and compelling than this one, and that's really disappointing because this is supposed to be like, I don't want to say her magnum opus, but I feel like people blow this series out of proportion, I think, compared to other Sarah J Maas works, and it just boggles the mind. Like between these books and Fourth Wing, I don't want to say I've lost faith in the romantic community or like the book community, because I've always had like conflicting opinions, but I just really am scratching my head, you know, because like I like ACOTAR, like I think that's some solid shit and I understand why people like it, but this I just don't really get. It's picking up in this book and like I'm having a fun enough time, I guess, but I can guarantee you I will not be rereading this book. Like if there's a new book in the series and I feel compelled to read it, like fine, but I'm gonna be going in blind because I just like don't think I want to reread this. It's not like interesting enough to do that, I can tell you that right now. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Oh, Therion's kind of pitiful, but he's like with the guys who have been rescued from the Asteri, so I don't feel like I really have that much to say about him. I mean, yeah, he's pitiful. He's betrayed so many people that he's definitely going to be fucked over at some point in this book, but I just simply don't care. To be honest. I don't know. I really thought this was going to be like a more jam-packed vlog with reading content, and I am going to finish this book. I'm planning on going downstairs after I upload this video for tomorrow. I'll probably read the majority of it on Sunday, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I already told you what I did today, right? Like I scripted, filmed, and edited this Goodreads Choice Word video that has been looming, and this is the last of like the looming videos. Romancy video that I did, this video, and there was one other. I was just like, I really need to get these done. Oh, reading your best books of 2023, and getting these done does make me feel a lot more confident and like good going into the next few weeks, but I do just still feel behind. I feel like I have not been reading at the speed that I need to get the stuff done that I want to get done. So I don't know, y'all. So many emotions. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be bitter. I want to be focused. I want to be in a good mood. You know what I think is also going to really help with that I kind of figured out today, not even figured out, but just like remembered, is that the time change is coming. In less than a month, the sun will be setting an hour later, I suppose. I really need that. This winter weather is really just like fucking me down. Mental health, bad for many reasons, but the lack of sun really doesn't help. So, all right, I will check in with y'all tomorrow. I'm going to go downstairs, get my PJs on, and cozy up with some, I guess, banging. Not me, but like the characters in the book. Happy Sunday, lovelies. I'm here to talk a little bit about Sarah J Maas. Oh god, not the cat here in the eye. I also want to apologize in advance because there are cars passing by, and that's just going to be a thing because this is where Haden parked me. He is getting his hair cut at the moment. We just had lunch, and I decided I would tag along so I could get lunch, and I would just like chill in the car and listen to a little bit of House of Flame and Shadow while he gets his hair cut. I'm sure it won't take very long. Also, I did want to say, I'm feeling a little bit better since yesterday. I actually like had a nice, heart-to-heart with Haden about infertility stuff, and it was just like nice to kind of get stuff off my chest. Not that like he was causing any of it, but like, it was just nice to get to voice some of my like frustration, concerns, anger. So anyway, I am like, I would say 60% of the way through this book. I have 3 hours left, which is really great. I don't know. I was trying to explain this to Haden, and we actually had a really good conversation about this, that like, I really feel like being an author is hard work, like in so many ways. Like putting your heart out there onto the page is really challenging. And I also think that having no ego is really challenging. And I feel like you can see that in some authors versus others. And I don't know Sarah J. Maas personally. I don't know what her writing process looks like, but I tend to find that authors who have been writing a long time can go one of two ways. It's like their craft can continue to improve, or their later books can be not as good as their first ones. And I find, sadly, with Sarah J. Maas, I think her more recent books tend to lack editing and polish that I think could definitely be there with the resources that she has at her disposal. And I think that's what frustrates me when I read stuff like this, is that I definitely think that there's something here. Like, I think this could be a really interesting and compelling story, but there's just too much going on. And I think if you had a good developmental editor or some really good beta readers, they could tell you, hey, I think you're maybe trying to do a little too much. I think maybe you should scale back on some of this. Let's try to make it a little bit more clear cut. And it's not that I can't understand or comprehend complicated magic systems. I just personally don't appreciate when things are just pulled out of thin air as explanations for things, and we're trying to combine magic that's already confusing in and of itself, like within our own world, and then we're also bringing magic from a bunch of different worlds as well. It just makes it like kind of not very fun to read, frankly, and you just feel like you're being dragged along rather than things unfolding naturally. And I think that's, yeah, just really, again, frustrating as a reader. Like, I want to feel like all of the effort that I've put into reading this book is getting me somewhere rewarding, leading me to logical conclusions, that sort of thing. So I think there's been a couple of times when I've been irritated. So when Bryce is in the Akatar world, I don't know what we're calling that particular planet, but when she's there, she has this run-in with, I think, Thea, I don't know what the fuck her name is. No, or like an Asteri. I think she has a run-in with both. Anyway, she gets basically told the history of the war and her world and how it came to be and all of these things by one of her ancestors. She also has like a run-in with one of the Asteri who's like stuck on the Akatar planet. And it just feels so akin to the way that things are told to us by, I can't remember her name, Elena in Throne of Glass. It just feels like we're repeating and recycling a lot of like kind of boring and tired tropes and like ways to throw information at us. I just think it's like not very fun. And then we also have a similar situation where Bryce is going to whatever island the other kinds of fae live on. I can't remember what they're called. To start with a V or whatever, I'm not sure. It's like where the Scottish sounding fae live, and she's on this island and she's finding out even more about like how to unite the sword and the knife and how her people will be together when she does that. And again, it's just like we have these info dumping moments. It usually happens too when she's like confronting someone for the first time. I don't know. I'm just like, it just feels lazy. It feels like lazy writing, and I'm not mad. I'm disappointed is I think what I want to say. And I think other people have been expressing their disappointment and frustration as well, but I think in maybe different ways. And I keep seeing reference as well to, you know, maybe Sarah J. Maas had a different version of this book and then her editors made her change it to this one. And I really don't believe that that's the case. I think it's probably the opposite. I think that she probably wrote this book and people were telling her like, maybe you should change things, and she just decided she didn't want to. Yeah, at the point that I'm at right now, they're on the island. Lydia and Rune have kind of made up, which I kind of like. I mean, it wasn't as like triumphant as I wanted it to be, and I think that there are just a few like emotional beats that are missing within this story that I think could have made things interesting. I really found this idea of like someone who is a double agent having to torture like the love of her life. I found that really compelling and interesting. I think that's a really interesting thing to do. And I noticed kind of, I don't want to say parallels between this and like Manacled, but kind of. But the difference being in Manacled, you get to see the complexity of emotion really drawn out over time and having to like reconcile the fact that you really love someone and they're having to do horrible things in the name of eventually like really good things, if that makes sense. And in this book, I mean, it's kind of a similar premise, right? Like Lydia is forced to do terrible things to Rune in order to save herself and also to save those around her and do things for the greater good. And I know that there's not a lot of time to spend like really processing hard emotions and healing from the trauma of like being in a dungeon for forever, but the fact that there's like really no mending of that relationship, I don't like. Comparing it to other relationships like in Throne of Glass, I feel like you could draw parallels between this relationship and maybe like a Lysandra Adian relationship, and like they have hard times and they have to like work through things. And even fucking Rowan and like Aelin, Selena, whatever, like they have conflicting emotions about each other sometimes, and like they have to work through those, and I'm just not feeling like that stuff is like being done very well. Same, I guess, with like the Hunt Bryce thing. I just care so little about them that it doesn't bother me as much, but Hunt doesn't feel like Bryce is communicating with her as well, and I like kind of appreciate that that is being included. Like in theory I appreciate it. In practice, I'm just annoyed because I don't care about their relationship, but I just wish that I could see more on page, like frustration and complexity. And again, it's like, I think that is where a good editor could come in and step in and be like, hey, let's expand upon this a little bit and maybe have like a a moment to breathe in this part of the book to really have these like emotions set in a little bit better, because I think that's what sets this apart from like, I hate to say it, truly good fantasy, you know? And Hayden and I were kind of like comparing a Sarah J. Maas book to like a Brandon Sanderson, and you know, I don't think every author has to be as transparent about their process necessarily, but it is just so interesting seeing how much stock he puts in reader feedback to an extent, but also into his own craft, right? Like he writes a book and he realizes after the fact, like, you know, these are some things I would change, and so I'm going to change them going forward in a new book. And I just don't really feel like I see that with Sarah J. Maas. Again, it's like, I don't know her writing process. She's kind of private, whatever. But I think that if you saw the flaws in your own writing, you maybe wouldn't repeat certain things as much or as often as she does. So I don't know. I don't mean to go on a rampage, but I do just really want to share my thoughts and feelings on this one. And, you know, strangely, this has not led me to, like, not ever want to read a book by her again, but I really do hope that eventually she wants more for herself and, like, she is willing to, like, write a new series maybe and take a chance and, like, do something different. I'll keep y'all posted as I continue to read. Hopefully I'll have like more very plot specific things to talk about, not just like general critiques of the book, but no promises. He has a loud mouth over there. My apologies in advance. Let's talk about it. I finished it. It's what I expected. It's not what I wanted. I am just coming to find that Sarah J. Maas is a bit of a one-trick pony, and I kind of knew that, obviously, having read Throne of Glass and having read ACOTAR, but I actually feel like those series are dissimilar in some ways, right? But I guess now having 3 series and noticing the similarities, I can see how they all kind of blend together, how all of the books sort of blend together and have little tropey crutches that Sarah relies on to kind of move her stories forward. Like I kind of mentioned in the last clip, we've got that kind of irritating sort of like prophesying dead person, specifically a dead lady, every book. Like I just don't know why that always has to be the case. We've got this blowout battle at the end of the book that feels very inconsequential and unexciting. I don't care how much like page time she devotes to these like blowout battles, like Aka War or whatever. I'm sorry, that battle was not it. This one also likewise not it. I never finished Empire of Storm, so I actually don't know about that one, and maybe that one has, or is it Kingdom of Ash? I don't know. Maybe it has like a really crazy battle that like feels impactful. From what I understand, it does. And I just think it's crazy that like this 3rd series is her weakest, you know? Like you would hope that an author's craft would improve over time. And I've already bitched about this, but that's just kind of how I feel. Things to note. There are characters that are basically like throwaway. In reading other people's Goodreads reviews, I was like, oh yeah, shit, what happened to Fury and Juniper? Like they didn't really have any plots of their own in this book, which was a little bit irritating. We've got people dying and then obviously coming back to life. We've got Bryce basically abolishing the house system in her country or world or whatever because we've banished the Asteri. They're no longer here. Thank God. Of course. Yay. Bryce is a savior. She declares herself queen. And then whenever she's dead, I guess she won't be a ruler anymore. It's like, okay, why are we making exceptions for you, girly? I don't understand that. And then Ethan is, of course, in charge of the wolves. And I don't think Hunt wants to be in charge of the angels because he's a bit of a puss. But no, this just like, it wasn't great, and I wanted to like it, and I wanted to like the relationships, but even the relationship that I was so excited about, Rune and Lydia, was just kind of like meh to me. I will forever not understand the series, and I hope that as time went on, I could like really warm to it like everybody else, but I just can't, y'all. I just really can't, and I'm praying to God that she does something different next time. Like, not even different in the world. That's not what I'm asking. Like, I'm totally cool with it being Fae. I like Fae. I think they're fun, but I want some like new and interesting plots. Like every plot of her books has been we're overthrowing the government, and I don't know, I just feel like there's other like plot points and like ways you can go with fantasy. So I think I'll probably give this book 2 stars. It was fine. It just like wasn't spectacular, which I think we all kind of have guessed. But you know what? I'm actually glad that I read this because again, I like being in the loop. I like being one of the people who knows things, and I can like actually give my opinion when asked, which I really, really like. One of my like guilty pleasures, it's not even a guilty pleasure. I like when people comment, oh, you should totally read this, or oh, have you read this one? When I like ask for recommendations, and I'm like, of course I've already read it. I love that. I genuinely love that. So glad I read this for that reason. That being said, I could not be more over fucking joyed to move on to something that I actually want to read. I feel like I haven't read anything that I want to read in a while because I have been like stuck with the series, and I chose that for myself, but I want a good contemporary. And I think I've already mentioned, but I deeply want to watch Bridgerton again. I think I'm just going to rewatch season 2 and just get into my angsty, tension-filled feels. maybe I'll find a romance that really hits the spot too. Next week, we're going all in on the romance, so I hope you're excited about it. That is it. That is it for me. That's it from this vlog. I think, it's only 8:15 on Sunday, so I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time kind of cleaning up in here. I need to wash my sheets. I want to wash my hair. Just getting like prepped for next week, getting excited for next week. And yeah. Hope you're excited for the next one. I know I'm like thinking about what even happened in this vlog and it just does not feel cohesive, but as always, it was fun taking you along with me. I love y'all so much and I'll see you next time.